Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. Sure, we all know there's only one Tesla, and all other EV companies fall short, very short, and legacy autos, well, just a total embarrassment all around, really. All other EV manufacturers, well, I don't want to insult them or anything. For all we know, they may very well be trying their hardest, but Elon said it was pretty much impossible to do, i.e., hit volume production with a profit. And Tesla's economies of scale keep growing further, so much so that Tesla's economies of scale even have economies of scale. It is mind-blowing and will continue to be for some time still as we see the level of vertical integration grow through further levels and processes. Each time Tesla's economies of scale grow like this, it makes it exponentially harder for anyone else to compete with Tesla. Compete with Tesla? Is that really a thing? Are we really still hearing this? Tesla is not behaving anti-competitively at all. Tesla have done a lot to grow the EV industry in general. Tesla are not trying to undercut the competition. In fact, Tesla even raised their prices. Even the electric Nissan Leaf and Chevrolet Bolt both already undercut Tesla significantly in price, especially when you factor in tax credits. Tesla are even offering their charging network an FSD. It blows my mind that not one of these auto companies had said something like, we're going to be Tesla compatible or something. I guess kind of like how computers were IBM compatible back in the olden days. Or it would probably be more like how Intel was inside every personal computer. Perhaps Tesla FSD inside. With all these arrogant displays of power from legacy autos and EV startups claiming that they could do such a better job than Tesla, well, time has moved on since those claims. Tesla seems to be in a direction to meet just about all their previous obligations and promises, perhaps somewhat delayed, and also likely no $25,000 Tesla either. What about all the others that swore to crush Tesla's market share, as it was just such a joke of a company? In the early days, we admittedly may not have realized just what a truly tremendous job Tesla and Elon had done. We just loved the products, company, and vision. We were told that the big boys could come in at any time and just kill Tesla as a company. But EVs weren't lucrative enough to bother. We were always faced with this risk as an investor, this rhetoric going around, and this genuine disdain of Tesla in the media. It was always treated like a nothing company and laughed at. The big boys who were producing 50 times as many vehicles as Tesla, they know what they're doing a lot more than Tesla. If a tiny company with minimal startup capital can do this, then obviously the likes of Volkswagen can. We even saw Jaguar. Yes, a company like Jaguar, quickly enough make themselves an all-electric vehicle. If Jaguar could do it this fast, then what about the rest? Sure, there was the Bolt and the Leaf, but like Jim Channel said, Tesla made EVs cool. Bolt and Leaf? Nah. But now we had prestige brands like Jaguar. Okay, Jaguar probably isn't the coolest either, but it was direct competition to the Model X. And of course we had Porsche's Mission E that we had heard as far back as 2015. I actually saw the prototype Mission E in the Porsche Museum in Stuttgart. I even got to view it with an augmented reality headset. Of course, eventually it evolved into the Porsche Taycan and launched in 2019, after 4 years of building up how much better it was going to be than the Model S. Well, Porsche did everything they could to beat Tesla. This was their moment to show that they have what Tesla have. And of course, this wasn't really Porsche, but the parent company Volkswagen, who really had something to prove. But Porsche realized early on that Tesla is absolutely mind-blowing, and they have absolutely no chance of coming close. So Porsche bought half a stake in the electric car company Rimac. You know, the car Richard Hammond was driving on a hill climb when he went off the edge? The CEO of Rimac was not happy about that either, as I think they only had something like 2 prototypes, and now one was up in flames. Porsche needed Rimac's powertrain technology to compete with Tesla. Long story short, the Porsche managed to get a 0-60 time as quick as the Model S Ludicrous. Except the Porsche was able to keep doing quarter miles all day long and not lose performance, whereas the Tesla 0-60 time would slowly dwindle after each race. But the Porsche cost twice as much as the Tesla. Oh, and with a battery you can always have more power, but if you opt for more power in your EV, then that comes at a sacrifice. You lose range. So the end result was Porsche matched Tesla in acceleration, but the car cost twice as much and had half as much range. Of course, the following year Tesla launched the Plaid and absolutely obliterated the Porsche in every single conceivable way. The competition didn't realize that it really mattered how early you started, as the exponentials take a long time to kick in for battery production. Elon knew this the whole time, and every year longer the competition took simply meant that Tesla would have twice as many cars out by the time they started, making it literally twice as hard for the competition every year they delayed starting producing EVs. Sorry, twice? Well, only twice if we go by Tesla's rate, and it's actually not quite twice. It's more like 70% if we want to be specific. But you get the point. Every year they waited, then Tesla would be 70% further ahead again of all the competition, but this would only be if they could ramp up at the same speed as Tesla. Unfortunately for them, they're not even close to ramping up at Tesla speed. Still to this date, yes, I'm going to say it again, because it's a big deal, none have hit volume production. But the Chinese are going to be the competition. They're going to dominate the world with their EVs. There'll be a lot more Chinese EVs on the road than Teslas, even in the US. Tesla's home turf. Yes, this appears to be the narrative from most of the people in this community. As far as I can tell, along with those of you who agree with me, I seem to be the only one who thinks this is not going to be a thing. Why? Same deal. The Chinese aren't close to volume production either. Oh, but there are so many more Chinese EVs than Teslas, and they sell so many more. Yes, that is literally true as any statistic ever is, but how about we set a filter for Chinese EVs? Said filter can be all Chinese EVs that could actually be legally sold in Europe or America. Then everything changes, doesn't it? Tesla absolutely dominates. And this is on the Chinese home turf. Volkswagen are producing electric vehicles as fast as BYD, the largest Chinese EV manufacturer. Volkswagen is a brand consumers will pay more for over Chinese EVs, especially in Europe. Volkswagen is made locally in Europe and avoids Chinese import tariffs and costs. Please tell me in the comments why you think BYD's loss-making BEVs will beat Volkswagen's loss-making BEVs on their home turf. Yes, BYD lose money on BEVs still. If you don't believe me, check their financials and look how much their profits dropped when they started scaling BEV. They have a profitable hybrid business to support the BEV business, just like Volkswagen has a profitable ICE business to support their BEV business. Volkswagen also has a CEO who actually understands the future. And no, I really don't want Herbert Diess to run Tesla Europe or anything like that. He may understand EVs, but I don't think he's on the same mission as Tesla. He sees EVs as the future and very lucrative, not as the savior of the planet. Small-minded mission, he should not be in Tesla. And like we said earlier, Volkswagen has brands like Porsche. Did you know that the Porsche 911 has something like 50% gross margin? Surprising? Well, it's the same car they've been refining over decades. It holds a lot of value in the brand. It drives really well, handles well, and is relatively reliable for an ICE car with Ferrari-like performance. I think the only Porsche I ever drove was a 996 GT2. It was a great car and a lot of fun. Ferrari has similar profit margins as well. What does that say? There is so much prestige in these brands that so much of the actual price is based on the brand alone. This goodwill value can carry over into EVs, at least for the brands that do have this significant value. Porsche is obviously one of them, and the Taycan now outsells the 911. Could you imagine if Porsche launched an electric 911? No one has ever launched an electric sports car. Porsche could dominate that segment. Why don't they? Two reasons I can think of. Well, we just said that they get 50% gross margin. The 911 is incredibly profitable. If they made an electric version, then surely it might risk some cannibalization. Maybe, but Porsche are making an electric SUV next, which would compete with their best-selling models. Porsche sell a lot more SUVs than they do sedans or sports cars, so they're going to cannibalize their ICE SUVs, possibly because Porsche might actually be making profits from their electric cars as they're so expensive. I mean, surely they must, right? So that might not be the reason they don't make an electric 911. I think the real reason is that, well, the wheelbase is too short. When we talk about battery density, there are two areas to focus. We often talk about watts per kilogram, but there's also volumetric density, as in there's this much space to fit the batteries. If the car has a shorter wheelbase, then there is going to be a smaller volume for batteries. An electric 911 would obviously have to have a lot of power. Porsche would be aiming for low 2 seconds to 60. Now that is a lot of power and would thus require four-wheel drive to get that much power into the tyres without losing too much traction. Well, that adds massively to weight too and reduces range. In other words, you may have a 911 that can accelerate very fast, but at my guess, the range is going to be about 150 miles. I'm not entirely sure even Porsche can put a $200,000 price tag on a car with only 150 miles of range. Sometimes I like to compare the EV industry to the search industry, as this is the industry I grew up in and know very well. All these EV companies are trying to beat Google. Tesla is Google. Even Microsoft couldn't beat Google with Bing. Microsoft threw billions at Bing and couldn't come close. Yet there are actually some people who use it, just like there'll be some people who will buy an electric Volkswagen. We also have people using Yahoo, and a few other small ones. And in China they use Baidu. People love to compare other scenarios and say things like the Chinese EVs will invade the US, like the Japanese compacts did in the 70s and 80s. There's absolutely nothing to support this happening. It's a very arbitrary comparison. Well, I like the search engine scenario. It's a tech industry anyway. Why compare it with an old legacy industry? Right, so what's Google's global share of search? According to Statista, it's 85%. Can Tesla have a market share that high? I believe yes, on miles driven. Anyway, I like to just take a look around the industry every now and then and evaluate Tesla's place in it, remove all noise and rhetoric, simply purely my own analysis from source. Witnessing all the competition trying and coming up short is just evidence of what an absolutely outstanding job Tesla have done. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.